Breath by James Nestor. Welcome to my channel. My name is Samuel and I want to make self-growth normal. If you want to make self-growth normal, because I don't want to do it alone, and who doesn't want to make self-growth normal, then make sure to smash that like button. This book was actually recommended to me by a manager of mine. It's a much more popular book, published in the last quarter on the self-help side of things. And you don't see that often in meditation unless it's from like an already very well-established author. So that's interesting, but he also has like a notable work from 2016 that I found called Deep. It's about free diving, renegade science, and what the ocean can tell us about ourselves. Have you heard of any of the last three things that I just listed? I hadn't heard of them. It also sounds like a very different topic or topics from the science of breathing, right? Also, what can a book about the science of breath really be about? Breathing is breathing. You just inhale inhale the good stuff and exhale the bull. What do kids say these days? I don't even know. What more to breathing could there be? Let's talk about this, because this audiobook had to have been over 7 hours long for a reason. In this review, I'm going to talk about the book. Like I always do in my book reviews, I'm going to talk about some observations I had throughout the chapters. I saw in a 3-star review on Audible that this book is mainly just storytelling, which, not that that's not insightful. I mean, come on, it's storytelling, but it's just, to me, I don't know about you, but to me, it's just not what you would expect in a book about the science of breath. So is the book actually insightful? How new of a science is this? How lost of an art is it? Is breath actually a lost art? Am I taking the title of this book a little too seriously? That's just the title. I think I was like freaking out in this one review. I think it was Presence by Amy Cuddy. And I was like, that is not what presence means. Maybe I need to start meditating again, stressing myself out over book contents. But first, listen to this one part from the introduction of breath. They told me about an Indian doctor who lost several pounds by changing how he inhaled, and another man who had been injected with E. coli and breathed in ways to stimulate his immune system and destroy the toxins in minutes. They told me about women who put their cancers into remission and monks who could melt circles in the snow around their bare bodies. It all sounded nuts. I read through reams of literature on the subject. I found a library's worth of material. The problem was, most sources were thousands of years old. Part 1 is called The Experiment. You know those medical books that are filled with things that you just can't unlearn? 40% of today's population suffers from, chronic nasal obstruction. Half of us are habitual mouth breathers, with women and children suffering the most. Of the 5,400 mammal species on Earth, humans are now the only ones to have routinely misaligned jaws. Were we not the only ones before? Also, like, what is a routinely misaligned jaw? I don't know. Just reading it, I was kind of like, Not just routinely misaligned jaws, but overbites, underbites, and snaggle teeth. That's such a silly word, snaggle teeth. But why would we evolve to make ourselves sick? There's a lot of evolutionary history in this part of the book. I don't breathe through my mouth. I didn't know people do that. I think I might be like so much of a nose breather that I actually had to think of which one I habitually breathe through. It's weird. It's like asking, when you brush your teeth, what side of what tooth do you start with? For me, I think it's the front of the furthest left of the bottom row. He talks about aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration, breathing with and without oxygen. And he talks about the differences between the two, aside from breathing with and breathing without oxygen. Part 2 is the lost art and science of breathing. There's nothing in this book that's all too spiritual, all too woo-woo. Like, if you don't believe in fairy crystal magic, unicorn, shaman, elves. In the nose chapter, I found that mouth breathing is the #1 cause of cavities, ahead of sugar and poor hygiene. It's also a contributor to snoring and sleep apnea. This dude is just full of facts. If you're watching this video and you breathe through your mouth, I'll give you a super quick lesson on how to improve your health. One word: stop. I don't mean stop breathing, but I mean start nose breathing and stop mouth breathing, okay? In fact, do as little mouth breathing as you possibly can. The less, the better. And if you have to watch a video about a book and not buy the book to start doing that, I guarantee you will be very surprised with the difference it makes the longer you kind of do that less. He explains the same thing with exhaling. Emphysema, scoliosis, all you have to do is full exhales. I really like the way this guy explains things, but what kind of confuses me about the book is that it's not all that clear to me what he's trying to achieve with it. To me, this book was kind of just like a scientific guide to optimized breathing in the 21st century. Many times throughout the book, the author mentions a friend of his named Olson. Olson seems like that brilliant friend who's very passionate about something, probably to a degree that's almost annoying. And he changes her mind about many of what seems like some of the smallest and biggest conclusions. In this chapter, for example, the author talks about how Olson convinced him that carbon dioxide might be more important than oxygen for the sustenance of life on Earth. I think the second part of this book should just be called like How to Breathe or something. Because breathing fully, slowly, oh, and by the way, chewing softly and breathing through your nose, that all kind of hits a little differently when it's explained to you so thoroughly the benefits of doing so. Did that last sentence even make sense? I don't know. The author said that a few seconds of soft chewing, I don't know exactly what he means by soft chewing. I guess he means like not like not like that. He said that that's what inspired this book. Just a few seconds of soft chewing in the middle of a Victorian room a decade ago. And this guy's got a sort of a writing style to him, you know what I mean? This research wasn't happening in medicine. It was happening in the halls of ancient burial sites. The anthropologist working there told me that if I really want to understand how such a sudden and dramatic change can occur, I needed to leave the labs and get into the field. I needed to see the patient zeros of the modern obstructed human and the turning point when our farm-fed faces fell apart on a mass scale. I needed to get my hands on some skulls, old ones, and a lot of them. Farm-fed faces, zeros, get my hands on some old skulls. Graphic. And I think that the message, the crux of this book is not drenched, but sunken by, maybe immersed in storytelling. But the thing is, I think that's kind of necessary given its nature and the book's ultimate popularity. I think that's a big reason for it. The next part is called Breathing Plus. It presented itself to me as like more of just like a bunch of notes disguised as, you guessed it, stories. Again, not much wrong with that. I mean, storytelling, as Brene Brown puts it, is stories are data with a soul. But it's just not as descriptive or practical as I found them maybe the first half or more of the book. The parts are called More on Occasion, Hold It, Fast, Slow, and Not at All, and One Last Gasp. A few of these I listened to twice, and I just couldn't find like the real beef like I did earlier in the book. The next part is Breathing Methods. It's actually read by Olson. Anders Olson. I looked him up. He's a professor in the University of Stockholm. He's written books about conscious breathing. These really tell you, like the first part tells you how to breathe in general, kind of like these tell you how to breathe step by step depending on like what you're trying to accomplish. For me, the most value in this book was the first half maybe, because like maybe meditation is already in your schedule and you do, I don't know, what Tony Robbins taught you, and that works for you. And you don't have any of the medical problems listed throughout this video. That's no reason, in my opinion, not to check the book out, because like the first half or maybe more of the book explains how to breathe in a way that doesn't require meditation. You can do it while you're driving, working, writing a book review, looking at your YouTube stats, and speaking of which, smashing the like button for the YouTube algorithm if you haven't done so already. And also, by the way, guys, I really just want to thank you guys so much. I'm finally at 1,000 subscribers. It's August 10th, 2020. I started with 500 January 1st. I'm finally at 1,000, and I thank you guys so much for that. That means the world to me. When I hit 4,000 hours of watch time in the last 365 days, right now I'm at like I don't know what I'm at, but like I'm 90% of the way there. I should be there by the end of maybe August or September. I can start getting paid per view, which is crazy to think about. You can do it while you're thanking your audience. Kind of. I mean, if you're talking, you can't really breathe out. I don't know. You can do it while you're eating dinner, watching The Office, having sex, pardon my self-projection, whatever you do every day, okay? Quotes. We become conditioned to breathe too much like we become conditioned to eat too much. We're never fully relaxed either. We spend our nights half awake, lulling in a gray zone of half anxiety. Direction 1. I recommend this book for, I guess, anyone who cares about their long-term health. Direction 2. If you like this book, the only two that come to mind, I mean, these are like, I would say they're beyond science, because I've never heard anyone talk about breathing the way this guy does. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle and Be Here Now by Ram Dass, or the Be Here Now talks. I listened to those. Breath by James Nestor. There's a link in the description if you guys want to check it out and read the reviews. That and all the other books that I mentioned in this video if you want to check those out too. If you guys end up buying any of the books through the links in the description, then I get commission, which helps me build this channel and keep making these videos for you guys. If there are any other books that you guys want me to check out and review, please let me know in the comments below. Also let me know if you checked out this book and you liked it. But hey, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, because I don't get why people watch this far to this point in my reviews and they don't subscribe. But if you have subscribed and you want to turn it up just a notch and turn on that notification bell to get a notification whenever I drop new videos, that will mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You can find me everywhere, and I will see you then.